Does the name the Ghost Bandits mean anything to you?
Most notorious bank robbers in American history.
Your parents stole $5 million from me.
I don't understand. Was Owen right?
Yeah, it was Owen, of course. I think.
Welcome to Cordkillers, the show about watching the stuff you love when you want, where you want, however you want. I'm Tom Merritt.
Hey, I'm Brian Brushwood, but most importantly, who's Owen, Bryce?
Hi, well, Owen is one of the main characters in Netflix's upcoming action comedy film, The Outlaws. That's Adam Devine, who plays a bank manager. His bank gets robbed, and he thinks his future in-laws did it. They did do it, because it's Ellen Barkin and Pierce Brosnan. But there's more stuff in the movie, I'm told. There we go. It's coming to Netflix Live. That's the whole premise. It's like, what if they're the bank robbers? And then the whole last 30 seconds of the trailer is they're
definitely
bank robbers.
Bank robbers, yeah.
There's whole act one is gone. But
old people who used to be spies is a genre now, mostly on Netflix.
Yeah, well, that one's coming July 5th. So if you like that.
Happy Independence Day. Well, somebody who is independent-minded, and we're happy to have her back on the show, is Ashley Esqueda. Welcome back.
Huzzah!
Hello. I get it. It was like it's in-laws, but then they were outlaws.
They're outlaws.
Oh, man.
My goodness. I didn't even. Okay.
Where
all right.
do they
Dash
get?
laws.
There's a writer's strike right now, guys. So
Buckle up.
Sadly, this was before that.
I don't know.
Is that why
I don't
they
know.
struck? Because of that script?
Yeah, that's.
'Cause they
I
were
mean,
forced to
that
write
it feels like a strikeable offense. If I'm being
Yeah,
honest.
you made us write this. We're done.
Have I ever been on Cordkillers? I feel like I haven't. I feel like I've been on DTNS.
You have a couple
You
of
have
times.
definitely been on DTNS.
Yeah, and I do believe you've been on Cordkillers once or twice before, but you know what? That's so long ago, it doesn't even matter.
I feel like I was on Cordkillers before I had my child, and he's about to
You
be
were
4.
on last May 18th, 2020.
But man, I was going through some stuff at that time. Or 2020, May 18th, 2020. Okay, yeah, we were all going through some stuff.
Look, we all get a pass thanks to the blip.
Yeah.
Don't even worry about it.
No, the first year of my son's life was a combination of like new parenthood for 6 months and then just literally a pandemic time. And so that is like a black hole from which my brain will never come back from. Like it just is
in that
gone.
case,
All of that is
welcome
gone.
to the show for the first time. Ashley.
Thanks
It's
for
good to
having
have
me. Mine like a goldfish, very sharp. Happy
Well, it's all
Pride.
good.
I'm wearing my best drag race shirt today.
Woohoo. Let's get right to the primary target then, because we got some Apple stuff.
Oof.
Now, you may wonder why we're talking about a mixed reality headset from Apple, but I'll explain in a second. Apple announced the Apple Vision Pro. The Vision Pro runs on the Vision OS. I will pause for all of your Marvel jokes. All those Reality OS leaks you might have seen were false flags, I guess. The thing looks like goggles, lets you see the world around you, also projects a picture of your eyes onto the front of the headset, so people think they can see you, and they'll know when you can see them. When your vision is obscured because you can black out the rest of the world, the eyes go away on the front of the headset. There is no controller. It does eye tracking and hand tracking for controls, so you can just look at things to select them and then pinch to click. To keep the weight down, power comes from plugging it in to a wall outlet or connecting it to a 2-hour battery pack. Its use cases were very much about providing gigantic screens for you. A lot of productivity stuff, Microsoft Office and all that. But for our purposes, they spent a lot of time pumping up the idea that you would use it to watch movies and TV shows. You could have a virtual theater. You could put yourself on a mountainside so that the screen feels really huge next to that mountain that you're on. And it's going to work with several hundred apps from iPad and iOS, including on day one, Disney Plus. Disney CEO Bob Iger made an appearance during the Apple keynote to talk about partnerships. They showed The Mandalorian. You could sit in a virtual land speeder and watch The Mandalorian, and also showed some interesting sports stuff, which I assume would be related to ESPN. The Vision Pro is not cheap. $3,500, and it's not got a date yet, just early next year. So is this a cord cutter device if you have that cord running down your neck, Ashley?
I mean, it does have a cord. I feel like, but the cord is attached to like a battery pack.
Yeah, it's attached to a thing in your pocket. So, yeah.
I mean, if you're using, who watches The Watch?
You got to plug an Apple TV into the wall too, right?
You got to get an Apple TV plugged in. I feel like it's a cord cutting. But you're kind of cutting the cord of the Apple TV device. What if they have LTE?
Yeah.
Is it one of those things where you're going to be able to do like an iPad where you can get an LTE version and a Wi-Fi only version?
Those kinds of details, yeah.
Yeah, like I don't really know. So although to be fair, I think we talked about this. Like, I don't think anybody's going out and about in the streets, out in these streets, like watching.
They did not show that use case.
Yeah, I feel like they're not watching Hawkeye season 2 or whatever, like out and about on Hollywood and Highland.
Maybe on an airplane. They did show people on an airplane, but that one makes sense.
Okay, well, you're just seated, and like that seems fine. But even then, there'll be people in first class. Nobody in economy is gonna have this thing. Nobody in economy.
No, you'll have to fly economy after you've paid the $3,500.
Yeah, that too. That's true. Okay, yeah, that's true. That's also very true. I will say this. My house is only so big. My house was built in 1955. And I'm a person who will literally buy. I'm a Barney from How I Met Your Mother. I will buy the largest available screen for a wall. And the appeal to me is just a gigantic screen in my home whenever I want it.
Wherever you want it.
Wherever I want it. But I do like, I think that for me, the more immersive things, like those kind of, the 3D movie watching seems very interesting to me. Like, I feel like I would be, I want to check that out. That seems cool. It seems like something I'm not getting on my, 77-inch TV at home.
Now, they showed this concept. We don't know if this will actually happen, but where you could see replays on a basketball game from above. So
that was weird. All the people look like miniatures.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can put the whole game on a coffee table and look at them like they're miniatures. That was really weird, and I like really weird. So that was good for me.
I think the part that I responded to the most was the idea that I could have a very large screen, but also not share it with anybody.
Yeah.
You can share it through FaceTime, but you all have to have headsets.
Right.
Yeah, you've all got to have $3,500.
Because you can do FaceTime in this, and FaceTime has SharePlay. So it could happen.
So, yes, and
there's always a way.
I have a 5-member family. So the idea of a very large screen, and it's like everybody in my family has to put a brick on their face in order for us to enjoy something together.
Well, what about this, right? You get a family computer. How many people can use a family computer at one time?
All of us, because we could just hit play and watch it together.
On a screen, outside of that one use case, they're selling this as more than just they're not selling it as a screen for everybody. So there.
I will say this. On the flip side of that, my 4-year-old cannot watch me play Diablo 4. And I would really like it if, while he's doing his own thing in the living room, if I could just get in a quick session, or if I could watch an episode of something on Netflix that was not for children.
Right.
Like I Think You Should Leave. I would love to watch that, but our house, again, is small. And so even if I was watching it in the living room while he was playing in his bedroom, he could still hear the TV. And so, for me, that is appealing to me as a kind of pick up and use quickly device. But I think I don't know, you guys, they're really trying to sell this as a content watching thing. But I think most people, like you were saying, Brian, it's a very, watching things is a very shared experience that we have. So I know a lot of people said, oh, it's the death of the movie theater. When the pandemic hit and everybody was at home and upgrading all their stuff. The thing is, there is something to be said about content or, art being experienced collectively in a room with other people.
Yeah, and along those lines, the difficulty that I can't help but think about is the type of content that I would want to keep private. Let's be mild and say like a Cronenberg movie, The Fly, what have you, some kind of gross thing that I don't want my 5-year-old seeing. I feel like I wouldn't trust this thing to watch and enjoy on my own. I would constantly be peeking around to see whether or not anybody was.
That is the brilliance of this, is you can do that. You can have the screen projected in your actual living room. In
your living
so
space.
That you
it's
still
not like
see
VR.
everything else around you. It's not a VR headset like the Quest where it blocks everything else out. It's letting you see the entire world. You have to choose if you want to block everything else out, which you can do, but by default, it shows you the world around you and positions your screens in the room that you're in.
Mm-hmm. The things I trust Apple to do, make previously hard things less difficult. I do believe that this will be an easy environment. I do believe that there interactive mechanisms where you tap your fingers and move,
all of that stuff.
All of that stuff.
The user interface will be more friendly.
Right. Things I don't trust them to do is change the fact that you're wearing a brick on your face.
They're goggles.
Yeah.
And we think you're going to love them on your face.
I'm curious how heavy they are.
Yeah, me too. Now, that's why they put that battery pack in your pocket instead of in the goggles.
Sure.
Is to
but
keep
the battery
it light.
pack only lasts for 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
That's what we're
or
hearing.
You can
it's
plug
2 hours
it
battery,
directly
which means
into the wall if you want.
But that's not even a whole Marvel movie. It's like you get to the climax of Doctor Strange 2, and then all of a sudden
that is the single most damning evidence that I've heard so far.
Yep.
You just dunked on it.
It's like, okay, I'm wearing this. I'm gonna watch I'm gonna watch some great horror movie that's 2 hours and 4 minutes long. It's just like, what are you doing?
Not gonna happen.
3 hours? Okay, I see. But I tweeted about that.
They're assuming you're going to plug it in when you're watching a movie, that the battery pack is for something else.
I guess so. Maybe office. I guess so. I guess they assume for an office day, you're going to have it hardwired.
You'll have it hardwired, or even on the plane
adapter.
With outlets as prevalent as they are.
Outlets.
You can plug it in.
That's fair. Outlets on a plane, okay, I get that. You're stationary. You're not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
All right, fine. Who's going to get up and go to the bathroom with that thing on their seat is my question. So I would never put a $3,500 object down that everybody knows is a $3,500 object, by the way.
You don't have to. You can see the entire world around you. People can see your eyes.
But then you got to go to the bathroom. No, I can't take that in. Oh my God, no. Please, this is the same as people who take their phones in the bathroom.
I want very much to steelman this argument because this is, and stop me if you've heard this before, but for 15 years we've talked about the difference between convenience versus fidelity. Convenience is, a small phone that your whole family gathers around because you are 3 clicks away from watching a thing. Fidelity is this deep, rich, interactive, incredible gamescape that we've experienced on everything from the Vive to the Quest and so on. This just reeks of the mushy middle. It's expensive, but still boils down to a brick on your face. Guys, I'm sorry. I really want to believe in this, but I don't think I do. Now, keep in mind that's not to say that I won't probably buy it anyway. But
right.
but boy, oh boy, is this a. I was unpleased with this pitch.
This really does explain to me why there were so many leaks ahead of time that Apple was having an internal argument about whether to release it yet or not. And Tim Cook allegedly pushed for it to be released anyway, because this feels like it is not ready for the public, but they're putting it out there anyway to get developers to understand what it is and start making apps for it. So then there will be apps that developers make that cause people to want to have it. And then they are likely, according to sources, going to have a cheaper one that won't be as capable, but be more affordable. So it's a bit of a chicken and egg situation. They want to put the $3,500 one out there to get people to make the stuff for it.
Yes. And there's definitely a parallel argument to be made with the launch of the iPhone. And that, Tom and I have talked about this before the show. It's like when the iPhone came out, it wasn't like particularly great at anything. Like it was fine. Like it was a revolutionary device in that you used your finger instead of a stylus. Like there were a lot of things about it that were new. But at the end of the day, that device was expensive, and it was also designed to really kind of soft launch for what then became the App Store, which was a year later after the iPhone launch. Like I don't think a lot of people remember that. Like there's that sort of like weird Mandela effect where we all just assume the App Store was there right from the beginning, and it wasn't. And so I tweeted about this earlier. There's a reason Apple used Pro in the title. There's a very specific reason for that. And that reason is this is the test device that is good enough and polished enough to put out there as a consumer product, but really early adopters and other developers, businesses, app developers, whatever that is, corporations, they're going to be the ones buying this majority. Like there will be some early adopters who pick it up who are just, people like us, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, what this is a test bed and a way to get developers to buy this device and start working on it and working on their apps and buying into the system so that they feel invested in it. And then they will release something equivalent to a, Vision Air in the next 3 to 5 years. That's my prediction.
And it was announced at the Worldwide Developers Conference. So part of the timing of the announcement, because they could have decided to announce it in its own announcement, maybe in the fall, closer to release date, whatever. They wanted to get the idea in front of developers. So that makes perfect sense to me. And we'll find out more details next year. We still don't know a lot about connectivity, like we mentioned earlier, or local sync. If you got two of these in a room, can they share the screen between them? Is there some kind of AirPlay situation? All kinds of questions left to be answered. We did not get the full story on it yet. I'm not saying the full story will suddenly change everyone's mind into wanting to spend $3,500, but there is more to come on this still.
Yeah. And then you got in the chat there, someone said, "What does this device do that others don't?" And I think that's the question Apple still hasn't really answered, right? It's the same as like Apple Watch, where they're kind of in a position where like, well, that's cool. And there's some cool stuff there that is for niche users, but like, why does everybody want this? And I don't think they've quite hit on that.
Well, and speaking of timing specifically, boy, oh boy, this year of all years, if you told me, hey, I'm Joe Apple, you know what everybody wants this year is to experience movies alone with nobody else in the room around them. I would say not a great idea, Joe Apple. Maybe reconsider. Bryce, how many of these are you going to buy?
Yeah, how many, Bryce?
I mean, it's cool.
One for each of us, right?
It's neat. I think if you compare it to a laptop purchase or, outside of the screen.
The Mac Pro is $69.95. That's another one they announced today.
Yeah.
Oh my God. For real?
Yeah. $7,000 for the full tower Mac Pro. This is like professional editing rigs.
But I think
it's actually like fairly reasonable.
I think there are like a lot of problems with this, but I think that those are problems that can be solved and will be solved, and we've seen Apple solve those problems. We've seen Apple make devices smaller, thinner, use better battery life. If this thing's got an M2 in it, and we know those M2 chips are generally very power efficient, so it could be that 2-hour dongle is like 2 hours on top of 6. I don't know. But there's a lot of things that you can solve with this. You can make battery life better. You can make resolution snappier. And I think you can sell people on some of the weirder things. I think you can sell people on the eyeballs if they look right. I think you could sell.
Depends on how it looks in real life. Yeah. I might think it's less creepy once I actually see it. I might think it's more creepy.
I imagine it's going to be like Memoji eyes, like your Memoji's eyes, which I'm fine with that. That's fine. Looks like a little Pixar person. Like I feel like they're going to do maybe some slightly enhanced version of that. Like it seems fine.
Although with the FaceTime, when you're doing FaceTime from within it, it makes a virtual version of you that was not an emoji, weird. But also not really you. It was a little digital avatar. Uncanny Valley. Yeah.
Yeah, very uncanny valley. Very weird. I will say for the record, an iPhone 14 Pro Max is right now is $1,100. And that's the base model with the lowest amount of, memory. So I think if they, in 3 to 5 years, if they can release Vision Air, which is basically going to be like a replacement for your phone.
Oh, Vision Air.
That's like wireless. If they can find a way to make it a replacement for an iPhone, then you got something, right? Like that's the thing for me.
I don't even know that you have something even then, because this thing can fit in my pocket and can travel with me in a way that's
fair.
Yeah.
But there are other people who would like be fine with wearing AR goggles around. Like I think that
some wraparound ski glass looking thing instead of this big bulky thing, maybe. Yeah.
They really don't position it as a movable device. Like it was very much you're sitting down on a couch.
Sitting down, enjoying, or sitting at your office or whatever that is. But I think if the price is sub $2,000 and they up the battery life and it's thinner or lighter, I think that they have something there. It's just really going to depend on the developer community. And
there's so many similarities to that original iPhone in that way.
Yeah, very much. I think that's why I feel, people like to bet against Apple, and I'm just like, man, if people said that about the iPad too, because there were other tablets that existed, right? And everyone's like, oh, this is dumb. Apple's never going to make any money making these things. Like, this is a stupid idea. Like, I remember those. I remember.
What do you need it for?
What do you even need it for? You have a computer. You've got an iPhone. You don't even need this. This is an irrelevant product category. And it's like, if there's one thing people should learn, it's that nobody can predict what's going to happen with Apple stuff. And also, like, don't really generally bet against them, because they will find a way to sell it to you. And I don't, even if you don't need it, like, that's why the watch is by a country mile the most purchased device, like in smartwatches, like that vertical, like Apple literally owns 95% of the oxygen in that category.
Yep. One other thing that came out of Worldwide Developers Conference, tvOS 17 was announced. That is going to come out in beta next month and then released to the public in the fall. You will get expanded control center, easier to access, things like AirPod settings and all that. Just one touch on the remote, that's going to get improved. You will be able to use your iPhone to locate the remote when you lose it, because you do. You'll be able to use your photo memories as a TV screensaver. If you don't like looking at dolphins or shots of LAX, you can replace it with your own stuff. And FaceTime on Apple TV with continuity camera. So you can start a FaceTime on your phone and then send the video to the TV, but keep using the phone as the camera. And that's where you can do share play for watching movies on the Apple TV with folks over FaceTime. Zoom and WebEx also coming to Apple TV, so you can do video conferences there as well.
Look, not to double down, but it's like those sound like actual problems people have with actual solutions that they're providing
from a mature product.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm very excited about continuity camera and FaceTime. Like, I don't like giving my kid my phone to talk to his grandparents, so it'd be really nice if I could just put it up on the TV and set my phone down, and then he can just talk to them. Like, great. Love that.
And it'll only be $50 for the stand that Apple will sell you.
Inevitably, yeah. $79.
You're right. $50 would be the one you get on Amazon.
I love the number $79.
Yeah, it'll be $79 at the Apple Store. You're totally right.
And there'll be an adapter as well, just in case.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Well, folks, instead of spending $79 on that mythical product, you should give that $79 to us.
Well, not all at once, or unless you're crazy, in which case, all at once.
Don't tell them what to do. It's
hypothetically, let's say you wanted to do just $3 an episode. Head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers. Get your own RSS feed. Get exclusive access to the After Talk segment where we are going to reveal our souls to you. Keep us loud, live, and independent. Head on over to patreon.com/Cordkillers.
Not every week I got to give my soul up on After Talk?
I mean, some of us do.
For the price of one Apple Vision Pro, you can support Cordkillers for 32 years.
Oh my God, that's
true.
entirely too true.
If you wanted to do $79 a month, that's like close to 4 years. So I mean, that's pretty good.
Yeah, still good. Patreon.com/Cordkillers. Let's talk about how to watch. We already told you how YouTube TV has the rights to show the NFL Sunday Ticket to home users in the U.S. this coming season. But if you go to a bar or a restaurant, the games still come from DirecTV. NFL Sunday Ticket lets subscribers pay to watch all Sunday NFL football games. And after 28 years, that service moved to YouTube TV. But bars and restaurants need a special license in order to show games because it's a public performance of that. And DirecTV for Business covers that license, lets the establishment show it to its patrons without violating any laws. Everybody gets their royalties paid. Everybody's taken care of. And DirecTV renewed that part of the deal with the NFL. Now, you may not realize that DirecTV's business service also carries games streamed exclusively on Peacock, Apple TV Plus, and Amazon Prime Video. So if you've been in a bar watching Thursday Night Football from Amazon, it's not that they're streaming Amazon. They're probably getting it from DirecTV for Business so that that license is covered. If you're thinking, well, hey, I want to pay one bill to get all that stuff from one service instead of paying Peacock and Apple TV Plus and Amazon Prime Video, the price in the past has been based on the occupancy of the business. Let's assume your house is low occupancy and you go for the lowest price. That's $650 a season for NFL Sunday Ticket. And then larger venues are more expensive. Compare that to YouTube TV's NFL Sunday Ticket. That starts at $349. So you can spring for DirecTV for Business, but it's going to cost you a lot more.
So this is one of those things that a lot of people are unfamiliar with. So when I was touring colleges, one of the things you might want to do in the middle of a magic routine is you got to fill 3 minutes as you cut the girl in half or what have you. So it may occur to you like, oh, I'll just play, some music from the 80s or whatever. But the problem is you don't have a right to perform that as part of another performance. And so a commercial license ends up being a lot more money. This does seem like a simple way to do it because ultimately you don't really care about who wins or loses the game. What you care about is that you're showing the game to bring people in order to buy more, IPAs or what have you.
Exactly. The idea is that it pays for itself because it brings people in to the bar. And if it doesn't, if you're not that kind of establishment, you don't need to pay for that.
Yeah, brings in the business.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I thought it was interesting because I always wondered when I saw Amazon Prime Video at a especially in an airport, I'm like, oh, are they streaming it? And back in the day, I was like, do they have enough bandwidth at this airport? Because I ain't getting it over the Wi-Fi. No, they're probably using DirecTV for Business. YouTube TV, by the way, also announced it will not limit simultaneous streams for NFL Sunday Ticket subscribers. They had said they were going to do that before, but they are not going to do that. YouTube TV added 7 new channels to its service, including the tennis channel, which was removed in 2020. That one's back. And this one other little tidbit, YouTube got the NFL, as we just mentioned. Major League Baseball is kind of keeping hold of its rights, trying to get them all back, but spreading the love around. Apple has some games. Peacock has some games. NHL is tied up with ESPN Plus. And now the last of the big four in the United States anyway, the NBA is coming up for renewal. Now, word is Disney and Warner Media, Disney through ESPN, Warner Media through TNT, are both looking to renew their deals. Those expire in 2025. But the NBA is expected to follow Major League Baseball's lead and try to sell rights to more partners. Bloomberg says the NBA wants more games on broadcast, not cable, but like broadcast TV, and wants to simulcast the games that are on cable to streaming services. So Amazon, NBC, Apple, and Fox through Tubi are all in the mix on this. And there's still some rumblings that Netflix might try to grab some NBA games.
I feel like between the four of us, we're experts in the NBA.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. Why are you setting us up for that?
Oh, mainly because none of us really had a hot take on that.
No.
Yeah. It's less about knowing about the NBA, although good luck to the Miami Heat. It's more about who's going to pay for this and how is this going to break up those streaming services. I know a lot of people in the audience probably watch this and are curious about where this is going to land. So yeah, this is just kind of a heads up that that thing you're used to where either ESPN, ABC, or TNT have the game in 2025, that might change. All right, let's talk about what to watch in Under Surveillance.
Not like real estate. It's all about location. Under Surveillance.
We begin by checking in with Ayaz Akhtar to see what's coming to streaming services this June.
What's up, Cordkillers? Ayaz here. Let's take a look at what's new to streaming in June. Where do we start this month? Let's go with Disney Plus. It has episode 1 of Secret Invasion on June 21st with new episodes weekly. This is the latest installment of the Marvel Cinematic Universe with Nick Fury as the lead. The trailers make this look like a more serious Marvel. Think more Winter Soldier and less the jokey stuff. Speaking of Disney Plus, it has Avatar: The Way of the Water beginning on the 7th. On the 14th, check out Our Planet 2 on Netflix. This is a new David Attenborough documentary series. This installment shows us how and why animals migrate. Speaking of animals, The Bear Season 2 arrives on Hulu on the 22nd. For all of you waiting to see the titular bear on The Bear, keep watching. Black Mirror Season 6 comes to Netflix on June 15th. Now, usually this series shows us a horribly skewed vision of the future that can make us somewhat content with our present. Boy, am I curious what Season 6 is going to look like considering, you know. And Just Like That is back on Max on June 22nd. You're waiting for me to connect this to the Black Mirror thing, aren't you? But I got one thing to say to you. Is It Cake 2 will stream on Netflix on June 30th. You want to know more? Watch this show, Cordkillers.
Thank you, Ayaz Akhtar. Also, Kim Cattrall shows up in that second season of it, and Just Like That, she does not
Spoiler
show up in
alert.
Black Mirror. Yeah,
Ayaz in that video was in fact cake.
I knew it. You know, we'll reveal that next week when we slice into him. Speaking of fun guest stars, Matt Berry, Toast of London, It Crowd, What We Do in the Shadows, is in talks to star in a Minecraft movie opposite Jason Momoa, scheduled to hit theaters April 4th, 2025.
I'll tell you what, man. Like I'm a huge Matt Berry fan, but his track record is a little bit askew of late.
What was his last mistake?
Mandalorian, I think. Or no, Boba Fett. He was in Boba Fett.
He was bad in Boba Fett?
Well, he was in Boba Fett, and I watched Boba Fett because
and Brian didn't like Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So that's enough to sour you on him being in a Minecraft movie.
It just makes me like, there are certain actors that I am an automatic yes will watch, and Matt Berry used to be among them, and now he's on the provisional list.
Whoa, fair weather fan.
Provisional listed Matt Berry. I'm gonna tell him you said that.
I'm sorry. Am I the only one who watched the Boba Fett show?
Yes.
Well, I mean, I've maintained my whole life that Boba Fett is a punk and not worth telling stories about ever. So, but people are gonna send me nasty emails if I go on. Matt Berry reminds me of like a Eugene Levy, right? Where it's like,
yes,
I unequivocally love him, but the choices sometimes, the taste is questionable. The script taste is questionable. And so, I think this is not the Rob McElhenney Minecraft movie. We should probably point this out. So Rob McElhenney was doing a Minecraft movie for a while. That was in like 2019 that got announced, I'm pretty sure. And then a bunch of stuff happened, and then he walked away from that project. This is a new Minecraft project. I don't know how much or how little they've brought over from the McElhenney version. And I know the director is the director who directed Napoleon Dynamite. So what is it, Jared Hess?
Mm-hmm. And as we all know, his follow-up to Napoleon Dynamite, Nacho Libre, was a universally beloved, I assume, Academy Award-winning movie.
Cult classic. I'll fight for that one. But I will say I have a lot of questions about this movie. Also, like, to be fair, Jason Momoa, not exactly a great tastemaker when it comes to choosing scripts either. His performance in Fast 10 was amazing. Fully admitted. I love him as a human being. I love him. But also, sometimes he doesn't pick great movies. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, we all love Jason Momoa in Stargate Atlantis. We all love Matt Berry as Mr. Pummelchuck in Great Expectations. We can all agree on that, right?
What if they just redid Twins, but instead of Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito, it was Matt Berry and Jason Momoa?
And call it the Minecraft movie.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
I'm just saying, Hollywood. I can't. Don't call me right now because there's a writer's strike. Don't call me right now. But I'm just saying.
As soon as that's done,
As soon as that's over, my phone lines are available. I'm not going to scab, but like my phone lines are open as soon as the strike ends. That's all.
Ayaz mentioned that Black Mirror coming back June 15th. There is a trailer out for season 6, and much of that trailer is taken from the first episode where Annie Murphy plays a person whose life has been turned into a streaming TV series starring Selma Hayek Pinot, on a fake streaming service that uses the same startup sound as Netflix, upon which Black Mirror is showing.
Okay.
Yeah. So Black Mirror, Annie Murphy, and parroting the platform upon which it's on. And the series have gotten so personalized. This one's about you and your life with Selma Hayek casting the role.
Do you find that when something hits the uncanny valley of feeling sanctioned by the people, like they're in on the parody, that it takes something away from it?
The fact that it's not transgressive if they allowed it, kind of thing. Yeah. It does take a little wind out of it. You're not wrong.
Takes the wind out of the sails, I think. Or
I do like the concept, though.
Takes the bite out of it.
I like that concept of the show is about you. It's like the reverse.
Yeah. It's an AI generated TV show about you. Like, that's super interesting. I'm into that. That's an interesting idea.
What was the guy who lived in a TV show and didn't realize he was living in a TV show?
Truman Show.
Truman Show. It's a reverse Truman Show.
Great movie. Yeah, it's a reverse Truman Show where you choose to be in a television series. It's like, it's like if you asked AI to generate a TV show about you, wouldn't you be terrified that it would generate like a true crime story? Where you died or you're the murderer. Like, it's just, you don't have a lot of control over what AI, like, I guess you could give it some parameters, but I think it's more interesting if it's just sort of a random.
The thing
lottery.
I would be most afraid of is that it would accurately portray who I am. That's
like
what would terrify me. Yeah.
I feel like that's where they're going.
Like, I don't want a Black Mirror put up to my face.
Yeah. Disney Plus now streaming the first 4 Indiana Jones movies, as is Pluto TV, actually. To promote that and the new movie coming out, Disney Plus subscribers get first crack at special Indiana Jones merch, at least if you're hearing this before June 8th, after which it goes on sale to the general public. Look for a special shop tab in the details page for some indie content on Disney Plus, or just go to shopdisney.com/Indiana Jones. Oh, there was a big story about this when Bob Chapek was still in charge of Disney, that they were going to give merch opportunities to Disney Plus. He's gone, but this finally showed up.
Bryce, you sound really excited about this.
Early access to your favorite Indiana Jones stainless steel tumbler and tie-dye t-shirt for adults. Okay.
They don't offer a crystal skull-topped cane for Harrison Ford.
Or a whip.
They should be offering.
Where are the whips? Sell me a whip.
Yeah, where's a coupon for a 5 o'clock early bird dinner? That's what I want.
So Bryce, you're not clowning the early access so much as the merchandise.
Well,
The merch should be good.
Como no se dos.
Yeah, I mean the merch should be better than Indiana Jones headpiece of the Staff of Ra pin, Raiders of the Lost Ark Limited.
Pin? I was with you.
It's a pin. I know. It's like, that sounds really exciting. And then you get to the pin part. And it's just like, man, you had such an opportunity here to make really cool limited edition drops. Like, that's the thing, right? It's like, you do a limited edition drop and you're like, if you watch the first 4 indie movies within the first 72 hours of them dropping on Disney Plus, you get access to this cool merch store with like limited edition, like 500 limited edition pieces of each thing. It's like there's 10 things.
Yeah.
Man, somebody put me in charge of the merch department.
That's
Boulder plushie.
That's perfect. Kids love
Boulder
plushies.
plushie would be amazing. I would totally buy that.
All right, let's talk about what we've had our eyes on. What's something you've been watching lately, Ashley?
Oh man, well, I can't. I will never stop watching the absurd reality on display in I Think You Should Leave. And the new season is out. And
to be in Ashley's mind, am I right?
I too, man, there is nothing, I've said this like 5 people. There's nothing I would love more than to have a special making of, you know how they did it with Bob and David, where they did like that Mr. Show revival, but then they had the behind the scenes like writer's room stuff. I want nothing more than to see a featurette about the writer's room pitches for I Think You Should Leave. There is nothing I wish for more in the world when it comes to additional content, like featurette content, than that. And I would like to also quit everything and begin my lucrative career as a driving crooner. The first episode is already just like full of bangers. And so I love Tim Robinson, and I love that he was so deeply weird that even SNL could not have him, like could not contain him. And so I really love this for him. And I love I Think You Should Leave so much. And also I've been watching Drag Race All-Stars, which has been very good.
Now, we're going to talk about I Think You Should Leave on Spoilerin time next week. Not this week, but next week. Give everybody a chance to catch up because there are 6 episodes, even though they're short. But without talking about your kids, Brian, what do you think about this season?
To be honest, we're all enjoying it. It is a little bit light on...
You didn't get it.
Substance. It used to be I could describe things that happened or conceits, but instead, mainly what I remember is Tim Robinson yelling a lot. But I've enjoyed it so far. I'll complete it for sure.
If there's any knock on season 3, it's that you've already seen seasons 1 and 2, so it's not nearly as surprising as the first season where you weren't expecting it at all.
Correct.
I think my favorite thing about this season, though, is that they get out of sketches much sooner. Which,
they
like
really
the
do.
last season, that was like my one big critique was like, I think some of them went on just a little bit too long. And in these ones, they get out of them so soon in a couple of instances that you're like, you get that feeling of like, wait, what did I just watch and what just happened? But I feel like that's better than ever feeling like a sketch went on too long.
Now, Brian, you're just going to make me feel worse that I haven't seen Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse yet, but you have seen it twice.
That's right, Tom. I went and saw the movie 2 times with me once, and then with my kids the second time. And
Bryce, have you seen it?
There was even a third time. No, I haven't seen it yet. I wanted to go see it this weekend, and then I got pulled in different directions, so I didn't get a chance to see it. Did you see it, Tom or Ashley?
No. Yeah, I didn't. Ashley, did you see it?
I have not. It was my mom's birthday this weekend, so we were doing birthday things. But we are and also our 4-year-old is hanging around in our house all the time. It's so rude. And we don't go to the movies a lot. It's a long movie, so I'm like, I can't take him to that. I mean, I could take him to the Mario movie and he'll sit through that, but he's not 4 yet, so he'll be 4 at the end of this month. So we're gonna sneak out when he goes to school tomorrow, maybe or like Wednesday, and we're gonna go.
Clever.
Nice.
Yeah.
What about you, Tom? What are you watching lately?
Well, we had a lot of stuff going on this weekend, so we only had a limited amount of time. And what Eileen wanted to do, it was see D-Day, August D's concert from Tokyo in theaters, and we did. we were originally going to see it here in LA. And when we've gone to see concerts, their Fandango events concerts, they're really fun. It's a bunch of people who are into the concert and having a good time seeing a concert that they can't because you'd have to fly halfway across the world to see it. Instead, we saw it in O'Fallon, Illinois. And I have to say, still really fun. Crowd may not have been as big as it would have been in Los Angeles, little smaller theater, but it was great. People were into it, singing along, and all that. So these Fandango events are starting to become bigger deals, I think, and I think it is one possible future for theaters. Not that they're going to stop showing movies, but that they're going to do more and more of these kinds of things. Because if you can draw a crowd like that in O'Fallon, Illinois, to do that, I think that points to something important. Yeah.
And it also, it alleviates stress on an artist. You know, you can go to the major hubs, but you can also reach those fans who are in those more rural areas in a way that connects fans together, which I think is always very good. If you have this like global sensation like BTS, like capitalizing on that fandom is so important, and also making them feel seen is really important. And they do feel seen because they show up every time. Every time.
Mm-hmm.
As we were driving through the cornfields and soybean fields on the way there, we were wondering, like how many people were going to show up, and it was good. Yeah. All right, Bryce, what should we be on the lookout for?
Hey, I got something that you should be on the lookout for. If you're Tom, hear me out on this one. Tom, did you ever watch? I know we both watched a lot of Terrace House on Netflix.
Oh yeah. I was sad that ended up not becoming a thing. Yeah, that's a whole thing.
Did you ever watch I, Nori on Netflix?
No, I never did.
So they've got I think this was some sort of spin-off thing, but I'm here to talk about another new Netflix romance reality commentary show called Love Village.
Oh.
This has 8 people, 4 guys and 4 women, share an old-style Japanese house. And the big twist on this one is that all of the participants are 35 years or older, some of them up to, I want to say, 60 years old.
Oh.
And so you end up with very mature takes on love. You know, you have some people who have been divorced multiple times, some people who have never been married, some people with kids. And it's interesting. I'll say that it's interesting if you're used to Terrace House. I think you might be interested in this. If you've seen I, Nori, you're going to have a better sense of the format of this. This is more structured like how do I put this? There's a little more traditional TV in this.
Okay.
There's more structure. There's like a narrator. They have like stings and teases and stuff in this.
They do the typical variety show kind of stuff a little more than Sarah's House did none of that kind of stuff.
Right. Like literally this one, they have a picture-in-picture a lot of the time of the commentators. So they talk during the show more than just taking breaks at the show.
Do they use the crying baby sound effect ever?
No, they haven't done the sound effect.
Okay, so they're not that direction.
Yeah.
Got it.
They haven't gone that far.
Gotcha.
Not that far, not yet.
But I think it's kind of interesting. Also, the hosts that they have are pretty good. Becky is the female host. She was on the Netflix I, Nori from a few years ago. And then Atsushi Tamura is the male host. He's a comedian. He is a little risque a little bit. He's kind of the loudmouth one. But I think this is really fascinating. I don't know. I mean, in a world where they just announced what was it, the Golden Bachelor, right? You know, an older version of The Bachelor. It's interesting to see this that doesn't have too much poking. There's not too much, you know, hey, aren't you old? Like there really isn't too much. There's a bit of a respect.
The title Love Village made me skeptical that I would want to watch it, because one of the things about Terrace House was that it wasn't overtly about dating. But then when you gave me the age range, I'm like, oh, that actually makes it a lot more interesting, because it's not just kids dating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was a nitwit when I was like 20 years old. Like nobody wanted to see that. Trust me. Like just
constant stepping
into rakes, like just being a big dummy.
Also, just it's because it's reality TV in 2023. Also, they're repairing the old style Japanese house in the show.
Oh,
so
okay.
That's a lot
that's
of
interesting.
Like they can't have laptops or phones or any devices, so they are spending some of their time repairing the house and
fixing things up. And,
yeah,
that's kind of cool.
I mean, I like it. I'm into it. I want to watch that.
So that's called Love Village. It's on Netflix now. It is. I think that they're doing a multi-release model. So I think most of the episodes of the season are out, but I think there are maybe even more. That's streaming on Netflix at the moment. If you've got something we should be on the lookout for, please email it to us, cordkillers@gmail.com. Now, Tom.
Yes, Bryce.
The people are waiting for you to tell us what you want them to do.
What I want is for them to buy a doghouse system.
Oh, and don't we love that?
Now, a lot of people think, well, that's because it's an advertiser. And the answer is no, they're not an advertiser. They have Brian hostage, and they will not let him go until you buy a doghouse system. That's not literally true.
We like metaphors around here.
Yeah.
Analogies.
But metaphorically, they're very nice people who provided a lot of equipment for us here at Cordkillers. And so we think it would be nice if you, the audience who are benefiting from that, return the favor and get yourself an excellent rig at the same time. So go to doghousesystems.com/rogue. That's ROGUE. And you will get a free SSD and a great computer. I'm using one right now. It's amazing. So go check it out. doghousesystems.com.
Maybe they'll give Brian back to us if you buy a computer. Oh, someone bought the computer.
Oh, my goodness, guys. Somebody just bought a computer, and that's why I'm back.
Thank goodness.
Wonderful.
It's just like that old-timey movie says, every time someone buys a computer,
a Brian Brushwood gets back on.
A podcaster gets a job.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's called
True.
It's a Cordkiller's Life, and you can watch it streaming now. Also, I do a newsletter. If you want to know what's up with me, just go to freetomnewsletter.com. It's free. You can respond to it. We'll have an email conversation, and I'll tell you like all the things that are happening, new top fives and things, stuff like that. So go check it out, freetomnewsletter.com. Let's move on to the front lines.
Front lines!
Netflix began emailing U.S. users about changes to its password sharing policies. Users on a Netflix standard plan can add one extra member using the service outside a primary household for an extra $7.99 a month. Netflix premium subscribers can add up to 2 outside accounts at the same price each. Subscribers on basic and standard with ads tiers can not add extra members. Primary Netflix accounts are based on the IP address used to watch the service on a TV, and Netflix told the press that it is now starting to roll out updates to sharing to countries around the world, including the U.S. So if you're not in the U.S., you don't need to feel left out. It's coming to you soon. Netflix also began rolling out new filters for its My List section on mobile, initially on Android and coming to iOS in the next few weeks. Users can now sort tiles by release date, alphabetically, by movies and TV, whether they were started or not started, and by when the title was added by the user. Netflix says it doesn't have immediate plans to bring the filters to the TV apps, though. These are just on Android and iOS for now.
And AMC Theaters makes money off of its tickets and concessions, but as folks are started going to the theaters less, it has started its own AMC Theaters on-demand streaming service to fill the gap. Fandango makes its money off of selling tickets to the theaters, but similarly, years ago, bought a streaming service, then later bought Vudu and merged them together. Let the consolidation continue. AMC's Theaters on Demand will be replaced by Vudu, which becomes the official streaming destination for AMC Theaters patrons. Users of AMC Theaters on Demand will have until August 31st to transfer their movie collections over to Vudu.
Also, my wife works for them. Fandango, not
I was about to say, like, I just assume all of them.
Yeah,
just all studio.
Exactly. MoviePass launched nationwide in the U.S., so it's out of beta. 4,000 locations available, some of them AMC, Regal, and Cinemark theaters. Basic plan is $10 a month for up to 3 movies. and the top plan is $40 a month for 30 movies. So that would be essentially a movie a day for $40 a month. Members can visit any theater that takes MasterCard, and if a theater is participating, it will let you use the e-ticket system. So if it's not a participating theater, but it takes MasterCard, you can just go buy a ticket at the counter, or if it's a participating theater, you can do the e-ticketing system and reserve your seat and all that sort of thing.
And finally, Comcast is offering its broadband subscribers $20 a month streaming service that combines 40 non-sports channels with Peacock Premium and some fast offering from Xumo. Subscribers access it from the Xfinity Stream app. It offers a 20-hour DVR and 3 concurrent streams.
Finally, season 2 of Wheel of Time returns to Amazon Prime Video July 14th. Starz is going to raise its price from $9 to $10 a month starting on June 26th. Google ended support for the first generation Chromecast. That was the one they launched 10 years ago in 2013. The dongle will still work, but it will not receive security updates, so you're at your own risk there. Vimeo will stop supporting its TV apps on June 27th. They're focusing on corporate and creative video hosting, so they really weren't providing a lot of stuff for you to watch there anyway. Pluto is adding 200 films to its fast streaming service. I mentioned the Indiana Jones movies earlier, also Transformers, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and more. Warner Brothers Discovery launched its rebuilt Max app last week. That brings in content from the Discovery networks in addition to HBO Max. No price increase for the existing tiers, but if you want 4K, they are only available on the new $20 a month Ultimate tier. So price didn't go up, but 4K moved to the new, more expensive tier. And many people pointed out that the joke begun by Brian on this show about Peacock going by its last name was repeated by the Peacock social media account in response to HBO Max becoming Max. Peacock's account wrote, "I know you're all very disappointed, but I will not be dropping the first half of my name anytime soon."
You're welcome, Peacock.
Indeed. All right, let's get to the dispatches from the front. Now, we had a lot of speculation about what Disney would call a combined service of Hulu, ESPN, and Disney Plus, which Bob Iger has indicated is in the works. Jim Thatcher, Big Jim, wrote in and said Disney will call it Go because they've used it before. abc.go.com used to be a thing.
Not gonna lie, that is a very, very good solution. There's no competition, as best I could tell, for the name Go. It solves the problem with Plus. It avoids calling it Disney. I think he's right.
Ashley, any thoughts on a combined service name?
I can't argue with it. That's some sound logic. They already own a 2-letter domain, which is like unheard of at this point. It's just go.com. I mean, they'd be nuts not to use it. That's why they better write James. They better write James Thatcher a big check for this idea.
Exactly. And then B. Lissa wrote in and said, "Hey, Tom, Brian, and Bryce, I have a couple of thoughts about why Nielsen's YouTube hours might be higher, though neither of them really applies to the most recent quarter. First, if you rent or buy a movie from Google now, you watch it in YouTube, where before they had a separate app for movies and TV shows. And second, since the pandemic, many more churches are live streaming their services than before, and more people are taking advantage of that than you might imagine. Besides people who just don't want to leave their house on Sunday morning, you get people who work on Sundays, so they watch service later. People who want to hear another pastor preach in addition to their own church's pastor, so they attend their own church but watch another on YouTube. And people who move to a different town but missed the church they attended before, so now they watch it on YouTube. I'm personally aware of a couple of people who fit in each of these categories, so I'm not just making this stuff up. YouTube has come a long way from the days when they didn't have an official Roku app, when you had to use some kind of bootleg app to watch YouTube on Roku. Also, I agree with Bryce. YouTube Premium makes YouTube much better. I'm not usually a fan of paying for something if I can get it for free, but the ads on YouTube are so annoying that I actually pay for YouTube Premium. Still, your wannabe boss waiting for Patreon to fix a bug that prevents me from continuing to support you, B. Lissa.
Heck yeah.
Thank you, B. Lissa. And good thoughts. I like that B. Lissa was pointing out that, in fact, that wouldn't necessarily explain the sudden rise in the last quarter, but those are contributors, right? They may not be the most recent cause, but I feel like those are both valid reasons that things had been going up. Ashley Esqueda, it's great to have you with us. Thank you so much for being along. If folks want to know more about what's going on with you, where should they go?
They can go to ashleysqueda.com. I'm like a woman about the internet these days.
Yeah.
I don't have like I'm my own person now. I don't work for a corporation anymore.
Welcome to the club.
I love it. But I also, if you're interested in like the next sort of like upcoming project, I'm very proud of it. I am the author of The Art of Psychonauts 2, and I also handpicked all of the art in this beautiful 400-page book that is coming out very soon. And for your money, for bang for your buck wise, it's less than an iPad folio case. So it's so inexpensive. You're getting literally the X10 is 404 pages. You're getting 404 pages of like incredible artwork from the team at Double Fine for Psychonauts 2. I combed through their internal forums and curated much of this.
That's fantastic.
It was a lot of work.
Also,
worked on this for a long time.
If you were to buy 65 copies of it, you still wouldn't even be close to owning whatever that new Apple VR thing
I'm just saying. You could buy so many and give them to your friends and family and pets. And pets.
Talk about
it's
winning
art,
over
so
friends.
they can look at it. It's fine. You can just read the words out loud to them. But yeah, so you can. That's over on I Am 8-Bit's website. They're going to be releasing it. So please check that out. And like I said, I'm really proud of it. And Tim Schafer himself, if you are familiar with him, he has endorsed it heartily. So he's
fantastic.
So if that's any kind of motivation for you, then I just cried when he said it. Looked
I bet
that I did a good job.
No, that's great, Ashley. Good work. That's fantastic.
Thanks. I'm so excited for everybody to see it because I've been looking at it for a long time now, and I got a sample finally, and I'm very ready to see the whole thing all put together. So it'll be great.
Well, folks, our website is cordkillers.com. Our email address is cordkillers@gmail.com. And we are live on twitch.tv/Night Attack Mondays at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. We'll talk to you next time.
Hey, Tom Merritt, what's going on?
I'm just hanging out here watching this scroll go by. What are you doing?
Trying to set up a bit where we thank our beautiful, beautiful patrons, all these wonderful names.
I'm sorry, I'm too distracted looking at these beautiful, beautiful patron names going by. Look at that one. I mean, if you wanted to be one of these people, patreon.com/cordkillers would be the place to go.
I mean, they're scratching our itch, like, because we're addicted.
As long as it's consensual, like,
we're addicted to their money.
And love. Might as well face it.
Well, God damn it.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.